It's funny you mentioned a 6-hour showing. There was, what was the property? I'm blanking on the name. It was on the market, $250 million. Hollywood.
Like Bruce McCoskey's.
Yes. Yeah. He was explaining, because he gave a tour to all of us at the Oppenheim group.
Okay.
And explained that every showing that they do was like $15,000 just to bring in a buyer. Because every time you go in, there are perfectly fresh flowers throughout the entire thing. So everything, and they don't keep them overnight.
Yeah.
Like this is just for the time the buyer walks through. It's like $15,000. And the agent, by the way, was paying for this. So, and this was a request of the owner. So every showing, they had to have fresh flowers. They also had to have, I think, the staff there to meet the prospective buyers so they could meet each other face to face. They also had, I think it was food, and they also had, I think, of Ace of Spades champagne. So by the time you walked up, you were given like the full treatment, and you were able to meet the staff. So just imagine and he was even explaining, by the way, that they've had showings where they've been fully ready and the buyer cancels.
Oh my God.
Imagine that. Just the buyer last minute, hey, sorry, I can't make it.
Honestly,
$15,000 is gone.
I totally get it. And it's actually the right call, because anybody spending money at that level, logic is off the table. It's fully riding on emotion. Like you go in there, you smell the house, you get the feeling, you're like, this is how I want to feel. I want to own this place. And whoever buys a $200 million home, it's an emotional purchase. I mean, it's a tough one to justify. It's just like, hey, I can afford it and I would like to have this house, so I'm just going to have it, So I think it's the right call, and every showing is so important. Pretty much anybody that you get through the door at that price point, they're billionaires.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that to me was probably the craziest house I've ever seen. Not so much for the price point, but just because when you hear the story behind every little bit, every item, every corner has a story behind it. Like it was the powder room sink was worth $400,000 for just the sink in the guest bathroom because of it came from a castle.
Yeah.
Every piece of art was hand curated. They had onyx on the outside of the house that was just nobody puts onyx as an exterior wall of the house.
It's so expensive.
Everything. Even the movie theater, the equipment alone was $1 million just for the equipment. It was just insane.
I mean, I feel like that home and the home next door to that in Bel Air, those were really experimental projects for Los Angeles. Even selling it at $88 million, I think broke a new layer of what's possible. My only 2 points on those 2 homes were, I think at that price point, people look for land, and they seem to lack a little bit of land. I think especially Bruce's home was well executed in terms of what kind of unique things you get in a home like that. I just felt like they were not big enough in terms of properties. And I don't care how cool your home is, people at that price point look for land. Look for they go in and they're like, this is my backyard. I can have 1,000 people here. And because they don't see these homes as just homes, they're assets where you leverage off to get the right people through the door, that kind of stuff.
What I've noticed though is that those buyers are sometimes the most stringent when it comes to budgets, and they'll basically just in their mind walk through the home and be like, okay, that's $1 million, that's $1 million, that's $1 million. And they'll come up with the cost of how much it'll be to build that house.
Yeah.
Plus the cost of the land, plus the cost of carrying costs, plus the cost of the guy's time. They'll make an offer based on the profit they think the owner should be making. I've seen that so much. They're like, hey, listen, you're in this house. I'm just going to guess $60 million.
Yep.
You're in this. Okay, your time is worth $6 million a year. We're going to offer this. And that, regardless of what the asking price is, that's what I've seen most of the time.